Hello! Hey, this video is uncut. So glad you guys have decided to join me today. We got hit here in Iowa with a major ice storm. So we lost power about an hour and a half ago. So it made me think, what do you do with your reptiles when you lose power? This video is primarily going to be uncut because I don't have power to edit. It's so great. And I'll just say, hey, thanks for watching. And I would love for you guys to comment below and tell me what you do when you lose power. How do you take care of your reptiles? How do you ensure that they survive the outage? Whether it's a short outage, a long outage, whatever the case is, tell me below. And hey, thanks for joining the Gecko Man for this great discussion. All right, everybody. So as I said in my intro, we did get hit with a massive winter ice storm. You might even be able to hear it actually hitting the roof out here in the sunroom. But, you know, that really made me think of a couple of things. Number one, what am I going to do to actually take care of my animals in the event we lose power? Well, we lost power. So I had to come up with a couple of ideas. I'm very interested in hearing everybody else's ideas on how you would take care of your animals in this event. But I'm going to share with you my plan. So first things first, make sure you take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care of your family. Do the best you can for you to survive. Your animals won't survive if you don't. I know that sounds a little apocalyptic, but you know, it is what it is at this point. We don't know how long our power is going to be out. Hopefully it won't be more than an hour, but it could be several days. Here in the Cedar Rapids area, they have over 10,000 people who are without power. And, you know, we're all treated the same. There's nobody who's higher on the list or lower on the list. They'll get to us as they can get to us. We've been without power for about 2 hours. Temperatures are starting to drop in the reptile room. I just went down and checked. And some of the cages are getting below 65. So now I got to start to scramble a little bit to do something to get those animals in an area where they can stay warm. The one thing I will share with you is most reptiles and amphibians can handle a cold spell a lot better than they can handle a hot spell. But we just want to get them some stable temperatures. So a couple of things that came to mind for me was, first off, if you received an animal in the mail and you received a shipping box, like this one we have right here, that actually came with styrofoam on the inside of it, you can actually go through and package your animal up, if you just have one, and stick them back down in this box. And they may actually be able to survive a little more stable temperatures for a short amount of time. That's one way. The other thing I would say is you can use like a heat pack. You have to be really careful though, the heat packs that you choose. The ones that you get at, like, say, the national retailers, like Hot Hands, these get way too hot for your animals. It doesn't mean you can't use them. It just means you have to be really careful when you're using them. So obviously one this size, this is one of the giant ones, actually looks like this, is way too big for a box of that size. But you could use a smaller one. You have to really keep track of the temperatures that are in there. So either put a thermometer in there, a wired thermometer with a probe works great. You could certainly actually use one of the temp guns to check it from time to time. You just want to make sure it's not getting above the highest temps that your animal can survive. You want to keep it in that optimal range. So that may mean you have to come in and remove the lid for a little bit to allow those temperatures to drop just a little bit, or even just set the lid on there kind of a little cockeyed so that, you know, those temperatures can drop a little bit. So then that brings up the question, what do you do if you have a large collection? Like I have over 60 geckos in my collection. To me, that's a medium-sized collection, but for a lot of people, that would be a very large collection. So what do? Well, if you have large shipping boxes, you can use them. Or in a pinch, you can actually use something along the lines of a storage tote like this. These are not insulated, but they will hold some temps with like your heating pads inside them. They will hold some of the temperatures in there. You just have to make sure that you have air holes in both, whichever you decide to use. Your animals still need to breathe, even inside these containers. So what my intention to do is I am actually going to take the lid, and I'm going to take a couple of these larger hot hands and tape them onto the lid so that they won't come in contact with the container that I put my geckos in. They'll just be at the top, no gecko will be touching them, and that'll help provide some heat inside the container. And I will have a temperature probe down in there to be able to monitor it at all times. Your shipping containers that, deli cups, whatever, that your animal came in, as long as they're good and clean, put something in there for the animal to sit on, and you can use them down in your box. The other thing is you want to use something in there for insulation. So newspaper or paper towel, something along those lines that you have to fill in that empty space. That'll help keep the animals warm. The last thing I have is a suggestion. If you actually have a water heater that is gas and not electric, you can, in your bathroom, you can run the shower in your bathroom with the door closed to heat the room up and then keep them in there. Once again, it requires you to keep track of them, keep track of their temperatures. But you can also take a water bottle and put it in your sink and run the hot water in the sink. Let it sit in there for a couple hours in that hot water. You don't want it hot enough to actually melt the bottle, but your water on the inside of the bottle, the temperature is going to increase. This is very stable. It will hold that temperature for a long time, and you can actually trade them out inside your box. It's not as high a temps as what like the heating pads get, but it will help raise those temperatures. May only be 2 or 3 degrees, maybe max 10 degrees, but it's very stable. It'll stay at those temperatures for a longer time. And it's reusable. So as you pull a cold one out and put it back in the hot water in the sink, you can actually put a warm one back in there and just keep trading those out. The biggest thing though is to make sure you're monitoring what is going on in your boxes and your animals. Monitor their health. Make sure they're not getting too cold, but certainly make sure they're not getting too hot, because that would be way, way worse. If you have an interior room of your home, keep them in there, because that's naturally going to be warmer and maintain the heat better. And I guess the last thing I have to say is these things happen. Don't fret it. Don't be scared. Be prepared. Be ready to take the measures that you have to provide for your animals and keep them healthy. And I'll also say, this little guy that you saw in the picture, the thumbnail, this is not a real gecko. So no geckos were harmed in this video, I promise you. And I'm doing everything I can to make sure that none of my geckos have any problems with this ice storm. So take care of yourselves, take care of your babies, and thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great day. That is a beautiful thing. I don't know if it's coming through very good, but that is our exhaust to our furnace. And that means our power's back on. Yeah, praise God. This is awesome. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe.